Is that what this is about? I have no reason to answer.
Hey, wait right there! This Mizar thing is really dangerous.
Yeah. You've got that secret weapon whatever at the Metropolitan Building, right? We can stop it if we use that.
I realize this, but I cannot allow it. Of course. Are they here at your bidding? I see. They're acting on conclusions they've leapt to with incomplete data. Still, I am surprised you found the magic circle without me escorting you to it. You did come to me on your own. I suppose I should repay that respect somehow. Let me ask you then, are you certain you want to use that magic circle now? There is much risk involved. My family uses that circle to harness the Dragon Stream. I told you that a barrier powered by the Dragon Stream protects Tokyo, Osaka, and Nagoya. Using the magic circle will deplete its power, causing the three barriers to collapse.
They'll collapse? What'll happen to those cities?
That's right. They'll be swallowed up. Every man, beast, and object.
Then our victory against Mizar would be Pyrrhic at best.
Indeed. That's why I didn't use the magic circle for the earlier crises.
What are we gonna do? If we don't take down Mizar, we're still doomed.
I doubt it. At the least, I see no other countermeasure against Mizar. Now do you fully understand? I ask you again, do you wish to use the magic circle?
There's no other way, though. We don't really have much of a choice.
That won't solve anything. The void will still swallow up the whole world.
This is a toughie. Damned if you do, damned slightly quicker if you don't.
If we don't defeat Mizar, the world will be destroyed. But using the magic circle will doom us too. Either way, we're just postponing the inevitable.
The question is, how long of a postponement are we talking about? Chief, if the barriers were to collapse, how much longer would the world have before the void swallowed everything?
That is something else to consider. Without the barrier, the void will swallow the cities. However, there will be a slight reprieve before their complete disappearance.
Reprieve? What do you mean?
The void's encroachment is gradually increasing. It would only be days before Tokyo, Osaka, and Nagoya all return to nothing. Yet, if Polaris meets with someone to create a new world before then, crisis averted.
Oh, that means we're cutting down our own deadline.
That is correct. The barriers have their limits, but they should last, as long as the towers still stand. By using the magic circle, though, the barriers will collapse and hasten the world's decline. Best case scenario, about 3 days. Worst case, 1.
Just 1 day? An outside chance at 3?
Do you understand? What will you do? I'm fine either way. I don't plan to wait 3 days for you to decide what future to support.
You're willing to fight us if we don't step in line, aren't you?
What a question. Of course I am. This world is like a thoroughly rotten fruit. An unsightly blossom that, though rotted, won't fall and spreads its stench still. This world is too far gone for peace. Even if I go down in history as a tyrant, the world requires a man willing to do this.
I still won't follow you, whatever you say. Maybe the world's rotten, maybe it isn't. But using that to justify your crazy merit system makes no sense.
You're such a child. Japan is a capitalist country, you know. Except when we were supposed to be raising people based on merit, we watered it down with human nature and the spirit of unity.
You got a point, but wouldn't a society based on nothing but skill just wear you out? think it'd be nicer to live in a world where people help each other out in a jam, you know?
Look, this isn't hard. The strong survive while the weak die off. Anyone griping about it just doesn't think they're strong enough to last.
Hey, dudes, this isn't the time for this. We're all working for the same thing, remember?
I don't know if that's true anymore, Daichi. The chief has put forth his merit system and the world changed. There's no more time to quibble. If people have different opinions, they have to speak up.
We shouldn't fight.
Wait! Right now, we're talking about Mizar and how to handle the Septentrions. That threat is here. Everything else can wait.
That's true, but defeating the Septentrions leads to changing the world. The future of the world is at stake here. We can't go forward without a unified front.
Yeah, but why not discuss it like adults instead of fighting about it?
An excellent idea. You didn't come here to bicker, did you? Listen well. Using the magic circle will hasten the Void's encroachment considerably. Not using it, however, will allow Mizar's spawn to smother the world today. Make your choice. Is anyone opposed to defeating Mizar?
That's our only option. There won't be a tomorrow if we lose today.
Right. Everything after that. We'll figure something out.
The dumbass is right. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I've got a bone to pick with Mizar. I'll help. We'll beat Mizar and meet Polaris.
No objections here. Don't worry, we can do this.
Now then, there are two things you must do in order to use the magic circle. First, you must pull out the stakes. Each tower has one. The stakes resonate with the towers to channel the dragon stream. So before we use the magic circle, all three must be pulled out. Once we remove the stakes, the barriers will crumble and the dragon stream will be under my command.
That's the step that causes the barriers to collapse? The one that reduces our time limit?
And from that point on, the void will accelerate its spread. Patience. I was getting to that. Once we pull the stakes, the dragon stream must be given form. It's a tricky process.
Hold up. What's it gonna turn into?
Why, a dragon, of course.
Like, with scales and wings and flamey breath? You serious?
Always. The energy will become a dragon to devour Mizar. So impatient. I was getting to that. A certain key is needed to activate the circle and give the dragon stream form. The key I speak of isn't one that can be tucked away somewhere. It's a demon. The circle will activate upon gaining the power of the demon set as its key.
So this is kind of like what we did with Shiva.
Something along those lines. Of course, there's a problem this time. Remember how we cut power to Tokyo Tower in order to send Alioth towards Sapporo? Tokyo sustained some damage from that exposure. The area where our demon is sealed was probably affected by the Void's encroachment. Being one with the land, the demon slumbering there has probably also been damaged himself.
Does that mean we can't resurrect this demon? Then what do we do?
Like as not, the only way to supplement the lost aspect of its being is for someone to act as a medium. We will review potential candidates. Luckily, we have your data from the physicals.
Are you serious? You're gonna pry into our exam records? Perv!
What a base accusation. I have no interest in your paltry measurements. I'll make the preparations. You'll receive instructions later.
Whew, he's finally gone. Thanks, by the way. You really helped. Yeah, he wouldn't even give us the time of day before you arrived.
Finally, we might have a way to beat Mizar. Although there's a catch.
Yeah, the stakes. This could end up biting us in the ass. After they're removed, we'll have 3 days to meet Polaris, at most.
So that's the deadline. We gotta up the tempo.
In that case, let's get ready to go tear up those stakes. I doubt it's gonna be easy.
Hello, Shining One. My apologies for that unpleasant matter earlier. I'm glad you understand. I am not your enemy. Shining One, I know now that you shall fall into confusion, harm, and strife. Prediction? I assume you mean the revelation of the experiences that lie ahead of you on the axis of time. Listen well, Shining One. I do not know the future. It cannot be called that. The images of death sent at Nicaea. These cannot be called predictions of the future. You do not understand. What you call the future does not truly exist. The world proceeds along a predetermined path. It contains neither past nor future.
There you are. Everyone else is already gathered.
We've already handled it. We await only you.
Hey, it's the Chief. Is this operation ready to go?
This is the point of no return. Once we begin, all barriers will be lost. There is no turning back. Are you prepared?
Prepared or not, there's no other way. We've gotta do it.
I guess you're right. We gotta do this.
All right, let's begin the operation. There are 3 towers that need stakes pulled up. We'll form 3 teams to cover them. We can't predict what will happen, so the teams are based on complementary strengths. First is Shijima, Nita, Akie, and Sako. They will act as Team Tokyo. Next is Kujo, Wakui, and Yanagiya. They will form Team Osaka. Lastly, Bon, Kano, and Torii will serve as Team Nagoya. The question is, which team will you lead? Tokyo, Osaka, or Nagoya?
You would have missed me, huh? Be honest.
Thank goodness. I feel much better knowing you'll be with us.
Fantastic. Having you along sure is a load off my mind.
You know how important this operation is. We cannot fail.
Very well. The makeup of Team Tokyo has been decided. Your team will be our main force. Proceed directly to the source of the Dragon Stream, Mount Fuji's crater. Take the terminal there, and use this code at the stake's control center. I'll tell you about removing the stake once you arrive. The rest of you will get your instructions en route. Now, move out!
Oh, man. That makes me all tingly no matter how many times we do it. Speaking of tingly, when did it get so cold?
It's below freezing. I should have anticipated this.
This'll definitely put a damper on things.
I can see my breath in the air. Who knew Mount Fuji would be this cold? Yeah, we'll catch cold if we're here too long. For now, why don't we go outside?
Hey, guys, wait for Daichi! Check it out, snow! No wonder it's so cold.
We'll freeze in this weather.
We better get a move on then.
Yeah, come on.
What is this? What's this huge complex in a place like this?
It's me. Have you arrived safely? I called to tell you precisely that. Observe the lowest level of the facility. Can you see part of the stake that's been driven into the ground? There are a few steps to uproot that stake. We must activate the terminal on the far side. I've just sent the codes to your phones. Once you activate the terminal, you'll gain access to the stake. You'll then need to send the codes to the stake from 3 locations in a set order. The next location will be specified each time you send a code. Once all 3 have been sent, the stake will be deactivated. Be careful. The power of the Dragon Stream is already attracting demons. As you remove the stake, even more demons will begin to appear. Perhaps more than we're prepared for. Be on your guard.
Wow, seems like there's a whole lot of demons already.
You're right. What should we do? Yeah, but be careful to not tire out fighting everyone. Be efficient, okay?
Nita's got the right idea. Fight smart. Everyone ready? Let's go.
It's out. Is this good? This is good, right?
Eruption? Now?
Whoa, this can't be good, can it?
Hey! Hey! There's no way this is good! Definitely bad! Run! We made it to the terminal.
Guys, look!
Oh crap! Mount Fuji's erupting! Run, guys! Run!
Oh, this view is magnificent. Oh, wait, rain of fire. Time to go.
We've got to get out of here. Don't look back.
We made it? Oh, sweet non-rarefied air!
Finally, there you guys are. Good job.
Hinako, we're alive! I thought we were goners for sure.
For good reason. I'm just glad you're all safe. We finished our part too.
Good work out there. The stakes in the Dragon Stream have been pulled. We're ready for the next step.
About time. I'm looking forward to getting even with that Mizar.
That is the end goal, yes. One last thing. As expected, the barriers protecting the three cities have collapsed. Without barriers, they will be swallowed by the void and disappear completely.
We cut our time limit to the bone.
Sure did. Well, there wasn't anything else we could have done.
That's right. There's no time left for philosophical debate. The time for hesitation is long since past. I will eliminate any who do not share my vision. Decide whether you will follow me or be erased. Tonight may be your last chance to choose. I'd rather not waste precious time here. Let's proceed to the next step.
Oh, right. That key thing?
Yes. The goal is to change the stream's energy into a dragon capable of dealing with Mizar. The first step, extracting the stakes from the dragon stream, has been completed. Now we must resurrect the demon who is the key to activating the magic circle.
I remember now. The key demon needs a medium, right?
It does. We have determined the best candidate for the job from your health exam results. Does being a pest come naturally to you? That's the least of your worries. To put it bluntly, acting as a demon's medium is never safe. In this case, the demon has lost some of its essence to the void. I cannot guarantee the survival of the one who will act as medium.
They might not be okay?
No, that's...
I'm proud. A true commander can make the necessary sacrifices.
Hold on. Let me ask you something. You did pick a medium for how well suited they were, right?
What other factors are there to consider?
Just so long as you didn't pick someone because they disagree with you. I'd hate to think you tampered with the selection to send someone you won't miss.
Oh, I see. Unfortunately, that wouldn't work. It's rare to find one who would serve so well as a medium. You can see the results if you like. In the end, there was only one viable candidate. As I said, I am only going along with your idea. If you want to back out, feel free.
Hinako, he's telling the truth. It's hard to find people with that kind of aptitude. I'll back him on that.
All right. No hard feelings then. Everyone's okay with that?
Yeah. I promise not to hold a grudge.
If there are no objections, take Nita to Miyashita Park. I'll send you the seal code.
Wait, what did you just say?
I told you to take Io Nita and head to Miyashita Park.
What? No. You're joking, right?
No way! Io's the only candidate?
Wait, Nita!
She fled. Well, no matter. Unless she's entirely brainless, she'll be there. The Demon Lu is the key to the Dragon Stream. He's sealed in the park. Prepare yourself and head straight there. You'll receive further instruction en route.
There he is! Hey!
We've been looking for you. You saw the email, right?
Yeah, that one! We got the notice too!
You gotta be kidding me. Io's gonna die? It's gotta be related to her being the medium for that demon, huh? Damn it! We can't beat Mizar without the Dragon Stream, but if we use it, Io's gonna... No, you gotta stop this! We've done it a bunch of times. This one won't be any different.
What's important now is finding Io. Where'd she go? You should go look for her. I bet she'd want you at her side right now. That's what I like to hear. Go get him, Tiger. Go! Shoo, shoo! Io's waiting for you.
She's right. Much as it pains me to admit, she could really use your encouragement right now.